The first ever North London derby taking place in Hong Kong, Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Question is this going to be a friendly, as it's called, a pre-season friendly? But we all know there's so much riding on this, there's so much bragging rights. The two North London clubs taking on each other in Hong Kong. But the question is Victor Gyökeres going to be playing for Arsenal in this game? Are we actually going to see him feature and potentially get his first ever goal for the Arsenal? Let's talk about this. And if you're new around here, you know what to do. Hit that like. Don't forget to share. And most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Let's get straight into it, guys. The first ever North London derby, as I said. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspurs. Outside of England, it's very weird. It's very weird to say. And we, as I said, is a pre-season friendly taking place in Hong Kong. But the question is it actually a friendly? Because as we know, the two North London clubs, there's a massive rivalry between those two, and nothing is ever friendly when it comes to these two teams. But let's look at it. Obviously, in their pre-season games so far, Arsenal have been doing okay, not so much Tottenham. They've played a couple of games, not done as well as probably that they would have preferred to have done. But let's be honest about it. They've got a new manager in Thomas Frank, who has just obviously joined, and he's probably still working his way through the team, his tactics, and obviously playing style. Talking about playing style, what exactly are we going to see from Tottenham? As we know, Tottenham previously under Ange have been very pragmatic in the way that they play, very attacking football, high pace, and Ange was one of those managers who basically said he was never going to change the way he played, even though a lot of the time he left his defense quite open and vulnerable for counterattacks. But in some cases, it did work for him. And as you guys know, hard for me to say, Tottenham did win the Europa League last season. Saying that, Thomas Frank is a new manager, obviously, where in regards to his playing style at Brentford, at his previous club, he does tend to play quite a lot, quite defensively, especially when he's playing against teams like Arsenal, because he knows Arsenal are going to have the majority of the ball, and it was a matter of just playing quite defensively and shutting them out and catching them on a counter-attack as of when. Is he going to be playing in the same way when it comes to Tottenham against Arsenal? And don't forget, Thomas Frank has always spoken quite highly of Arsenal in the past, and he's made a mistake already earlier in this pre-season, saying something about a team has never gone the whole full season undefeated. And then he remembered, oh, Arsenal has. And he's like, oh, I've made my first mistake or my first error as a Tottenham manager, mentioning Arsenal in his press conference. And he's quickly getting to know that he's no longer the Brentford manager. He's now the Tottenham Hotspurs manager. So the rivalry seems to be quite hotting up at the moment. So my question is, I do wonder the kind of game or the kind of tactics Thomas Frank is going to deploy when he's playing against Arsenal, considering this is more of a rivalry compared to when we used to play against Brentford. And let's not remember, when Brentford initially got promoted back to the Premier League, they played Arsenal. They was one of the first team to play Arsenal. And yeah, they did beat us. So yeah, really hard to say. And hopefully, I'm hoping his first game with Tottenham against Arsenal doesn't turn out to be a win. Is this going to be a friendly, or is it going to be a case of the players and the managers are going to take this game quite seriously, playing almost their full squad? And I think most of the annoying things in the preseason, which is quite expected in a preseason game, there's going to be a lot of rotations. You're going to see a mixture of obviously first team players, reserve players, and academy players. And let's not forget. But my question is, let's focus on Arsenal. In regards to Arsenal, is Victor Gyökeres going to play? Arteta already said in his press conference that he expects him to feature in some part of the game. Is he going to start, or is he going to come off the bench? I personally predict that Victor Gyökeres will get some minutes in this game, but probably off the bench at some stage, depending on how the game is going. There's not a lot riding on this game. It's a pre-season friendly. The only thing potentially riding on it is pride. The North London teams is always about bragging rights and pride. And the fact that it's been played in Hong Kong is mainly for the Hong Kong fans. Obviously, both teams are doing the Asian tour. And I believe that the turnout is going to be massive. In watching the Newcastle game against Arsenal the other day, you can see that there was a mixture of Arsenal fans and Newcastle fans in the stadium. Am I expecting that to be the same in this game? Probably not. Because yes, it's outside of England, but I can still envision that the rivalry is still going to be just as it's just going to be the same, and there's going to be a lot riding in this. And if you're also wondering where you can watch this game, you can watch it on the Arsenal website. Obviously, you have to pay for pay-per-view and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a live stream. So if you want to obviously watch along with me and in terms of my commentary and all that good stuff, don't forget to hit your notification bell and tune in tomorrow at 12:30, as in Thursday, 12:30 p.m. UK time. Let's look at some of the Arsenal teams in terms of the players that may feature and may not feature. So we've seen this past week, Urian Timber seems to be back in the fold in terms of his training. The previous training sessions in Singapore before the Newcastle game, we kind of saw him basically not really training and participating in the training sessions. It was pictured and seen and videoed in his trainers. He wasn't really participating, probably doing light training behind closed doors. Also, Zinchenko as well was doing light training. I think he did feature, but not for that long. And also, Calafiori, as we all know, he went down injured, but it is reported that it's not serious. So we don't know if he will be able to feature in the Tottenham Hotspurs game. So we have to wait and see in regards to that. That's possible. And obviously, Gabriel Magalhaes, he seems to have been back in full training. Again, we don't know if he's going to be able to feature in that game. Saying that, so what players are we expecting to see in this game? Probably all the other players that obviously that we didn't see feature. I don't expect to see Reece Nelson featuring in this game, similar to the Newcastle game. As you guys have known, there's been speculations that he's obviously going to be going to Fulham. They're still negotiating on the price and also basically whether it's going to be a loan move or a loan with an obligation to buy, a loan with an option to buy, or just a permanent transfer. So we're still waiting on news in regards to Reece Nelson. So I don't expect him to feature. I'd be very surprised if he did. Another player that did travel with Arsenal in regards to this pre-season tour is Albert Sambi Lokonga. We haven't seen him play a single minute yet since he returned to the club. So I'm expecting him obviously to leave the club at some stage, but I just thought that maybe Arteta will allow him to feature in some of this game, maybe to try and promote him and just basically see that he's show that he's still a good player in that regard or in that respect. But we haven't seen him feature. Are we going to see him feature against Tottenham Hotspur? We'll have to wait and see. The player that I'm excited to see is I can't believe I'm saying this because he's only 15 years old. It's Max Dowman. This boy comes on every time and I get really excited with his playing style, his tenacity, his ways. It's like he just basically wants to run through the defense and score goals or assist in that regard, whichever way it may be. So it'd be very interesting to see how obviously Arteta goes into this game and the tactics that he obviously would deploy. Let's be honest, the likelihood is Tottenham Hotspur are probably going to play quite defensively. I know they've got Mohamed Kudus now, but when you obviously compare the two squad and the two teams, Arsenal obviously, in my opinion, have better players. And Arsenal are probably going into this game. I know it's a pre-season friendly, but we're probably going in as favourites to win this game. I'm just excited to see Victor Gyökeres hopefully features at some point in this game. And I just see it as a starting lineup, probably David Raya, probably playing goal. David Raya will start. Ben White will probably start if Timber is still not up to scratch in terms of his fitness. Then we're going to potentially see Saliba. And I'm hoping maybe Kivior, considering that Calafiori may be out. And are we actually going to see Mosquera potentially play? We'll have to wait and see. And potentially I can see Lewis Skelly starting on the left back. I would see him starting with Norgard in that number 6 role in this game and probably go with Odegaard and Declan Rice, considering that they both came off the bench in the last game against Newcastle. And it'll be interesting to see if Bukayo Saka do start. He has started in the last 2 games against Newcastle and AC Milan, and obviously Havertz. And in terms of the left-hand side, Trossard started against Newcastle, whereas Martinelli started against AC Milan. So it'll be very interesting to see who he goes with to start this game. But I do suspect he'll probably start with a Martinelli and Trossard will come on at a later stage. As we know, Madueke is still on holiday, so he's not going to be featuring in Arsenal's couple of games coming up. He's probably going to be back in the next 2 weeks. So let me know in the comments below. How do I think this game's going to go? In terms of my predicted score, it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be, I can see either being an Arsenal 3-2 win, in my opinion. I don't see Arsenal losing this game again, bragging rights. And I do hope that Arsenal win. Let me know in the comments below in terms of your predicted starting lineup and also your predicted score for this game. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do put on that notification bell, as I'm going to be doing my live watch along for this game tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. kickoff, and I'll be live from 12:15 p.m. going over the starting lineup and obviously getting ready for the game. And as per usual, I'll be speaking to you guys tomorrow when the game obviously kicks off. Have a good one, Gooners. Hopefully we get the first win in the North London derby outside of England. Take care.